Alright, prep video. This one's just for Rich and Beer, Kurt, all of them really. Gary and Dal. Why, he just don't get it, does he? Billy, I think he's a great kid. I think he's a fine worker, but boy, I don't know. It's just something I never did. Something a lot of guys do around. There's like a certain type of guy that does it a lot. And a lot of the mills, they got one, at least one of them. Not usually me. I'm not one to just go burn with somebody or just, hey, if you're riding around, you burn. It's like, for one, you don't know who's in earshot. That's the first deal. Like, I already assume that they know, but I'm building a reputation here, and I don't need that shit. That's the first thing. That's where that line draws. Everything after that's pretty much fine, but it's like, you gotta understand where I'm going with this, and you would have to see it. Dal's not going to play it out like that. Gary's not really going to play without like that. Gary's kind of another one of those other ones like that. It's like, you take your alcohol, your father's alcoholism a little too hard, brother. Like, Dal's not the right person to be talking to that with. It's like the wrong conversation. Great guy to have a conversation, but Dal's not really, he's not gonna, he's just gonna smile and be polite. Later in the day, you're supposed to wrap a pallet. Man, I wish he'd wrap that pallet. Yeah, I don't know if he could get to him. Yeah, that's just like little things like that. That's where it comes up. So it's like, inviting me to come over. It's like, Jesus Christ, I'm not gonna fucking. Good God, I don't know if that's his house, his old man's house. I have no clue on none of it. No. And the last thing you need is to get involved with some shit. Then they don't like you on something because it's just scored. I'd rather that be on the work floor. Or me and Blue, we got it figured out, and that shit's gonna be locked in regardless. You might not like him for work ethic bullshit, but that'll go right out the fucking window. Come around, all that, you could still hold all that and fuck that up. I'm not gonna say it's enough to tilt the board, but boy, if it wouldn't fucking make ripples in the pond for a long time. No. It was like, that's not just that's anybody. I don't do it with just the regular Joes on the mill floor. It's like any of them. Other words, like, yeah, who was it? They called him Worm. Fuck, I can't remember his name. Or just, he's the kind of guy walk up to you. So you want to burn one after? Like, no, I don't. I want to go home and mind my business. I want to burn one of mine. Not with you. I already had enough fucking work for one goddamn day. I don't. The bosses ain't no better. Let me be. All right, so we'll do a power note here in a minute. I think I owe you guys a little explanation on some of that stuff there. A little bit more in detailed review on that one, certainly. Old Blue, we're going to cover some of that material. The old Blue, not that you knew Blue or there was ever any Blue. It's like, it depends on how superstitious you are, and here's the physics on that. And it's like, oh, well, superstitions are not physics. That shit's just going to be an open void. Now, your rabbit ass and mine in the back end of the day, right? It's like, you should be fine. Just come in and collect points. And just cash in on there, collect those points for the day, and that's it. As long as he doesn't melt down or cause some conflict with Dal or Veers. Oh, shit, on easy street for the rest of the day. Oh, yeah. Oh, to really give you a good explanation about what that is, you need to look up hypnotism. Your definition, your physics is wrong. Hypnotism to you is something where you have to be asleep, and it's not. You kind of get that kind of thing. Is like, no, where's getting with that. And I kind of understand. I don't get it all. I get that though, and it's like, when are you half awake? One's non-local, local is the science behind that. One's 0 fields, one's 1. And I might give you 1. I play the game with the Jaeger. The truth of the matter is, only like in the most ridiculous of circumstances, you might get to burning stuff. You might get, a pinky or tap of the ear or do something, but in line with gravity, it should be the decision-making process I make. There might be a wall where I was local or non-local. And yeah, you got to be careful. Remember, my local is going to be tight to that mill floor when I'm in there like that. Even if I'm dealing with non-local material, stuff like Blue, that gives us code communication. Somebody on the outside of that's not going to know this because essentially they're asleep. They're 0-1 in terms of their awareness to that function. So that's why I talk about training. I say you can't really yell at somebody until you've trained them. Quantum physicists are not bluestone masons, but they damn sure should have the ability on the common sense side of the coin of things to be able to process an irrational number, especially when I fucking tell them. Like, this is what irrational numbers are. This is your constant. This is physics, whether it's in Fermilab or it's in this other thing, because that's all gravity. That's the physics. This is how it will play. There is no superstition behind it. And I love everybody's model of, here's this person that if I say the wrong thing to, it works. Rich, Veer, Kurt, and you try to put that onto somebody in this thing, especially when you cannot physics this. You cannot physics this stuff. There's no way to process the information. The only thing you can do is check it on the board. And I'm of the critic type to tell you, fucking, did you science that? Did you graph that? Are you checking anything on the outside, inside? Because even at the end of it, you still might find a result. And for me, what I found out of that was it's actually a much more local type of field. Now, you might be dealing with some things that are way outside of the normal horizon, but that's life. I have politics. I can't see it. It's not in front of me. That doesn't mean it doesn't fucking matter. Anyways, and that's that. This is the seed, the power, the thing. It's energy transmission. If there's a negative space on it, then I can talk about positive working joules and the power series of what makes that system work. So entropy, and I'm going to capitalize on all the negative things. Those are irrational fields with an irrational box, X, Y, Z. This is what that scale's like. I can draw all that because this was that snapshot when that happened. And that may be in the stone mill over here and Fermilab over there, M1, M2. And that's where a lot of people get fucked up and they just don't understand anybody. It's like, I get one or two of them. I get that, but it's like universally, when you get there like that, it's no longer a matter of I can or I cannot do this. There is no can or cannot. There is only do or do not. I chose to do that, or I chose not to do that. Now, both of them are options. Some have better perspectives for costs or timelines or whichever one values better at the back end. I'd put up the time now to save a cost later. I'll put the cost now to save the time later. Really, that's not intrinsic to anybody. And I look up, and this is me, sometimes I look up and I go, well, which way is to go here? And like, well, you got 2 bits and 1/2 on the other. And if you fuck that one up, this one's still going to hurt. And that's the answer. That's a real answer. That looks more like general relativity or a renormalization equation when you break it all down, all those little words into little boxes about timelines. It's like, well, this thing could here. But if you did that, and that's a huge operational piece, if that goes in here. So I'm processing right now to ding, 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 ding. You're right. And there's the tone and the charm and the spin and the power. It's like, what are you in there? Trying to find dark matter, dark energy and shit. And like I said, if in the field, and we'll get back to this but in the field, if you should so happen to be a priest here, I'm going to undermine you. Not because I'm going to try to take God away from you or whatever your model of God is. I'm just going to start executing the N1/2 moves that you're leaving on the table for the irrational number, what that is, and I'm going to bury you. And it's going to be stone mill. It's going to be general relativity, special relativity, air turbulence equations. It can be philosophy. It can be the church in itself. It's a box. You have timelines, whether it's cost A or cost B, or this church's cost lines or that church's cost lines. This is the fucking number that's going to help these people at the end of it. And if you just keep going this passive work for them, do it. Don't do it for them. I'm not saying that there's a time to not be that passive kind. There's a lot of situations on stress, pressure, bars, and on gravity of what that correlates to is why I use the church as an in on this, a doorway, a gatekeeper, as long as those fucking masters are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I don't mind you even making a little bit of money off of this. It's a job. It's quantifiable at that level. It's absolutely one of those things. You got to build your heaven, your walls, your box like anybody else has to. It doesn't matter, Bluestone or rational air acoustic flutters being the devil or whoever else. Oh, sunshine, flower in the crack there. Perspective. when somebody has the tones to those things, they go there. You send somebody there. It's like all the physics on. You need some church, man. Not because you think you need God. It's because community's out over there. There's a little girlie running around in there. Maybe you want to check that out before somebody else slides in there. She gets it somewhere different. Get good with the community. Get good with the grandmother. Bing, bang, boom. Pretty soon you're eating Thanksgiving dinner, watching football with the family, right? Sounds like gravity to me. Boy, and if you were the kind of asshole that's going to do that, I'm going to stand on you. I hope you're ready. No offense. I was going to earlier. It's like, Rich has got when I get my application, I kind of let it slip out. I'm like, I'm fucking notorious, man, and people have this idea to me that I'm always out there headhunting somebody, that I'm trying to work everybody in the ground around me into the ground, and it's just not that way. I understand power series. When you get that many joules and zaps in here, all I had to do is say something. It was like, work your balls off like that, Buster. Wow, I don't know, man. He's really dangerous around me. No, I mean that realistically. I want you to think about that power for a moment. Just real dangerous around me, and he's like, and then you get that follow up, and it's like, well, he's thinking around, and you have a Master Mason opinion on this. You have to make that call right now. Is it worth the time, or is it worth the dollars? Worth the dollars or back? And all that other stuff on yourself right then and there, because it's going to be heavy. You're going to turn that into entropy, into energy. He's gone. Click. Done. Drops right through the floor. I'm not going to say it happens every time like that. I'm saying that is the physical box. What has to be adjusted and renormalized is your situation around that. And if you did that, you would have the energy working joules of this power series pretty much laid out like a Hadron Collider clock. I mean, it's going to shoot, it's going to go bang. This thing's going to have sub-actions, this sub-action of this sub-action. You can call them neutrinos, quarks, tap into them at any time. All the quirky things, that's energy, that's power. That's somebody on the floor, your zombie ass. Fucking rise, damn it. Zombie neutron star killer, kid. Your EM fields on this thing, your surface is all fucked up. It's not that I can't use that to power any clock. It's just going to take some fancy engineering to make this work comparatively to a yellow giant, just a regular happy Earth sun. Not too mad all the time. Kind of warm, pretty constant entropies on EM fields. And even though that's not exactly true, because it'll kick out a fucking magnetic storm, that's about as nice as it gets. So scientists did. It's like, and if I was like, that's the church. The same whiteboard. We're dealing with a mulberry bush in the ocean. Get it. What's general relativity here? Well, you got the sun angle here relative to this position. You're going to have hydraulic air. You're going to have water pumps and a desalination system. So it's a pressure vessel with temperature indexes down here. Just power everywhere. And it's like, it's just laid out and spread across the room. What you want is you just want to be able to condense it all down to one state. There she is. She's beautiful and I'm in charge of her. And one half, boy. Fucking half of it. I might not get all of it, but I bet you we both moving in the same direction. You're going to feel it's not going to make much of a difference. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so all blue. All right, so we'll stick it out. We got 2 minutes left. I might post this. Yeah, I might. All blue. Shitting diamonds out back. The biggest note I can give you that is carbon. Carbon. It's not necessarily that I can do anything with the rock. The rock is what the rock is. But I can tighten that fucking line down. I can make it so tight in here, the only thing left is carbon on that paper, like about how this process is run, about the exact timelines of some weird ass operations, regardless of the magnetic fucking firestorm that's dealing here. Shitting diamonds out back. Catch you on the next one.